The British businessman destroyed claims that Britain will suffer if it trades under World Trade Organisation WTO rules and said food prices will go down if there is no deal. Speaking on LBC, Mr. Martin said, "My one big worry at the moment is that there's been a massive lobby from proRemain business people who have a religious attachment to the EU that if there isn't a trade deal with the EU we'll be in terrible trouble." But Mr. Martin said Britain will be better off without a deal. He said a no-deal Brexit has a negative connotation, but he believes it will be good. Mr. Martin insisted food prices will go down if there is no deal. He said it'll mean that the government can abolish current EU tariffs on non-EU food imports, and if it does that, food prices will actually go down, which is the opposite of the fibs that have come from the CBI, the BRC and various other organizations. Getty Sky News. Wetherspoons boss Tim Martin said Britain will be better off without a Brexit deal. The idea that you have to be ruled from Brussels by unelected oligarchs is a fantasy, Tim Martin, and also we can save £200 million a week, so I don't think we need to be in the club. Australia is not in it. New Zealand is not in it. The USA, Canada and South Korea aren't in the club. We can do well outside. We like Europeans, they're great people, but the idea that you have to be ruled from Brussels by unelected oligarchs is a fantasy. More than 100,000 Britons have signed a petition calling for the UK to walk away from Brexit talks, forcing MPs to debate leaving the EU without a deal. The petition was submitted by Midlands voter Jack Taylor in September, calling for the government to leave the bloc immediately. It states the government should walk away from the Article 50 negotiations and leave the EU immediately with no deal. The EU looks set to offer us a punishment deal out of spite. Friday, December 8, 2017. Here is the 15-page Brexit deal in full. Why wait another 18 months when we could leave right away and fully take back control of our country, lawmaking powers and borders? The Prime Minister had to back down to the EU on a number of issues during the first stage of Brexit talks, including raising the divorce deal and allowing family members of migrants to move to Britain, which has been criticised by staunch Brexiteers. Prominent Leave campaigner Nigel Farage hit out at the EU over its demands on the Brexit divorce bill. He said they originally suggested a figure of up to €100 billion to frighten the British. Mr. Farage told Sky News that's how the EU have done this, put out a ridiculous figure, frighten the British, get Theresa May to promise 20 in Florence, and up we go. We do not need to be paying anything like this sum of money. The only reason they want this exorbitant sum is because they have refused to cut any of the future spending programs despite the fact the United Kingdom is leaving. We should not be paying that sum of money.